Back to my channel. My name is Maya if you're new, and today I'm really excited to be sharing with you a color with me in this beautiful book, Dreamland, Coloring Whimsical Worlds by Renata Krasik. And I love this book so much. It kind of looks like this, and it's single-sided. Paper is great, perfect for markers. The supplies I'm going to be using are my Ohuhu Honolulu series markers. And I love these because of the brush tip. And they are so wonderful to work with. So I have a swatch sheet, and it really helps. They're organized on my desk. And then I do use pencil on top, and a little bit of gel pen, acrylic markers, and some Neocolor too. So I hope you enjoy this video, and let's get into it. So I am starting here with the green, like a light green marker, and from the Ohuhu pastel set, the Honolulu series with the brush tip. There's a lot of really good light colors, so I try to use, as light as I can, whatever the lightest that I kind of have for the element that I'm looking for. And if you look here, I'm leaving white on the paper. Try to take a look where I'm leaving white is where the highlight is. And the highlight is the highest part of the leaf. So the part that's closest to us is going to have the white. And whatever is further away from us will be darker. So, or if it's, for example, the girl is there, under the girl, they'll be dark, like a shade. So I am just basing those leaves, and I'm leaving white for the highlight. Now I am moving on to the next color, the next darkest color, and I'm starting to add some darkness. So if you look here where I'm adding it slowly, I'm leaving still a little bit of that lighter pastel color, but I'm slowly adding darkness where I would do like shading with pencil. So I hope just looking at it will kind of help you see where to leave light and where to go in with the darkness, with the shading. Now I'm taking yet an even darker color, and really adding more darkness. And that is a crucial part. You can't have light or bright colors on a page without a dark contrasting color next to it. It's all about contrast with coloring if you want to really make things pop and make it look good. So I'm going to use my dad's line, don't be afraid of the dark. If you guys don't know, my dad was an art teacher. He's kind of retired now. But he would always tell his students, don't be afraid of the dark. So you got to add shading, you got to add dark colors. As you can see here, I'm starting to take out my pencils, polychromos pencils, and I have some Pablos as well for the lighter colors to supplement my polychromos set, which I will have a video on how to do that coming up soon. Or maybe it came out, I don't know. Either way, if it's already came out, I'll link it below. But you could see I'm taking a dark polychromos pencil and adding more shading, and I'm smoothing out the transition there where I put the dark alcohol marker. I'm adding pencil to kind of make it look more smooth. And the dark alcohol marker underneath really helps me to add the pencil, because I don't have to add that much pencil. The darkness is already there. I don't have to press that hard. I'm just like adding finishing touches, you know what I mean? So basing with the alcohol marker really helps pencil work, because you don't have to do as much layers, as you don't have to press as hard. Now I'm taking some other greens, and I'm adding more layers, more depth of color, and smoothing that out. So you can kind of see I'm adding just a bunch of different greens, whatever comes to my hand. I picked out a couple, put them on the desk, and I'm just picking them up, adding more layers just to create a nicer, smooth, more like depth of color on the leaves. Yeah, and I'm really liking how it is coming out. It's a lot of fun to just base first the element, then do pencil and kind of finish it up. So there's less of an ugly phase. I mean, I still will have an ugly phase because I don't do everything like that, but it's kind of fun to finish one element at a time and then see it come to life on the page. So I'm adding some darkness there, a little bit more layers, and now I'm getting started on the house. So you can see I added a first layer, then I took a little bit of a darker color and added some shading there, some darkness. I'm layering the alcohol markers, if you could see here. And what's nice about alcohol markers is they dry really quickly, so you can layer them really nicely and create a lot of awesome effects. So basing with the lightest, sometimes I leave a little white, going in with a darker color, and then sometimes using even the same color to layer just another layer on top for the darkness, for the shading. See how I use the same color there? And I did leave a little white there on the top, if you could see, and now I'm taking pencil and adding that to start building up a little bit more layers on the house. So a little darker colors, lighter, just for my polychromos, and I do have a couple of Pablos there as well. And I'm doing like a orangey, brownish orangey roof. Yeah, what I love about the polychromos pencils is that the laydown is very fine, and so you can really, it's great for shading on top of markers. As you can see here, I'm kind of defining the wood panels on the house with the pencil. But yeah, like I said, the polychromos are like harder pencils, so I usually base underneath them with something, either watercolor or alcohol markers. But they're great for adding layers, subtle layers, and going on top of something that's based, because the laydown is very nice and fine, so you can really create subtle layers and beautiful effects with the pencils. So I also love the Pablos. I think I like them a little bit more than polychromos, actually. Right here I am doing a little bit of the window, just with a straight pencil, and some gel pen for the window edges. Now moving on to some of the other foliage in the picture. I decided to use like a mustardy yellow, like a yellowish color for that, for those leaves there. And I'm making the highlight in the center of the leaf, if you could see there. So I will be using fine liners on that later on, and pencil as well. But I am basing, like I said, some more foliage there. And now I'm using my fine liners to add some shading on top of the alcohol marker, and also in the other one. And then I will go in with some pencil to add more color, the lighter and the darker colors, as you could see. Now I'm moving on to basing again with alcohol marker, and you could see I'm blocking out where I am coloring, and I'm leaving white for the rest, for the highlight. I think I'm pausing to think, like, what color should I use? Now I'm taking a darker color and starting to add the darkness. Now I'm using a fine liner to add a really thin line of darkness there for the shadow, for the shading, just to give it depth. And then of course go in with pencil on top to smooth it out and add more color. So yeah, it's really great to base underneath these layering pencils. It just saves you so much time, so much work. And it's actually a lot of fun. So I kind of just went with the flow of the colors here. I didn't really think too much. I just picked. I have a really good swatch chart next to me, and I kind of just go in and pick whatever color kind of comes to mind. And you can see there I'm adding shading both with fine liner again and pencils, and some more color. Now I'm taking my dark colors, both alcohol marker and, you'll see in a minute, an acrylic paint pen from Artix. And I'm doing the thinner stems with like a darker color just because it's easier and it stands out. So that's what I am doing right there. Now I'm looking at my swatches for my Neocolors, and I am starting on the background. So I believe I took the indigo blue, something like that. I don't remember the exact names, but kind of like sky colors, ultramarine, and those kind of colors to start on the background. And I am going to base with my Neocolors, and I will go on top with pencil later on, so you're going to see that. Very important with Neocolors to go on top of the previous color. Every new color in the gradient, make sure you go on top of all the previous colors before it. And that's what really adds a nice, beautiful blend and a depth of color. So Neocolor a lot of time is my choice, my number one choice for backgrounds. Because, you know, a background is a big area. So Neocolors go quicker than pencils and stuff like that. So, and you do have more control over where the color is compared to a traditional watercolor. So it's basically a watercolor that you can decide where exactly you want to put all the colors and everything. So if you saw, I added a little pink there at the bottom, at the transition, and a little bit of my cloud blue. And you can see I'm not very precious about it. Now, when I started to add the water, I realized that the book is not ideal, even though the paper is nice and thick and can take the water. This book is not ideal for water media. And what that means is the water soaks in pretty quickly, and you don't have a chance to move the pigment around as much. A paper that is more suitable for water media is where you can move around the pigment. It sits on top of the paper, and you have more control of moving it before it settles into the paper. So it's less patchy. That's what I mean. And I find that with, for example, the Japanese coloring books, you can really, it sits on top of the paper. It doesn't soak in right away. And you can move it along, around for a very long time. With this, you could see that it soaks in pretty quickly. I'm not able to blend the Neocolors very well, unfortunately. But I'm still glad I used them because they're a great base for like pencil on top. But I don't know if you can tell here, but I'm struggling a little bit to blend. It's not really, the pigment isn't moving around really very much. So, but that's okay. I'm still going to roll with it, and can always fix it up later with pencils on top. So right over here, I am starting on the other roof. I'm going to add a little bit more details to the houses. Fill in a little bit inside the house and with markers and layering of them. And then I will move on to the background behind the houses. I am going to base the background behind the houses with alcohol marker again. Here you can see I'm just blending and adding layers to the part that's inside the house. Now moving to like I said, the background behind the houses, I am going to base with alcohol marker. And if you see those little lines of it looks like wind or whatever it is, I'm kind of creating like strokes out a little bit outwards with the alcohol marker. I'm not being precious about it because again, it's just basing. So I'm just using kind of like these strokes to add color basically, because I know I'm going to go on top with pencil. So you can see I'm adding a little bit color going out into, and I'm going to meet the other background wherever there's that wind, the little foliage of wind blowing in the wind. I'm adding that green alcohol marker. And right now I'm taking another Artex acrylic paint pen to base that little botanical element there. And again, I'm starting to use more acrylic markers, excuse me. Here I'm using the bullet tip to start filling out these little dots. I'm looking at it as if it was just another like botanical element, maybe some pollen or whatever it is that is. I'm going to use gel pens and do like a mix. I wanted it to be like a yellowy mustard kind of colors. So I'm slowly filling that in. Yeah, then I moved on. I decided that was a little bit slow. So I moved on to some paint, the Inktense Paint Pan Studio set. Now I'm using a little bit of Calero on what looks like bubbles. I'm going to make them a little bit pinkish because I thought it would look nice with the green. It's like a light pink. That Calero set there is all my like light pinks. So yeah, I thought it would be fun to add a little bit of shiny elements to the page. Now I'm using one of my Fine Tech colors. Fine Tech is another pearlescent metallic watercolor. It's like the sister company to Calero. And I decided to use that red. I love that red. It's like my favorite. It's very, very intense. It's like a warm orangey red. So I'm using it to paint the top of those little buds. Now I'm taking another Ohuhu alcohol marker, and I am adding a darker color for the background behind the tree, behind the houses, excuse me. A little bit darker colors, and then I'm taking a third color that is darker just to add that shading right before I go in with pencil. And here you can see me going in with my polychromos pencils and starting to add shading and color on top of the alcohol marker. So that is going to be the background that I'm doing behind the houses. It's going to be green because it's closer to the ground. And slowly that green will meet up with the bluish background of the sky. So here I'm just building up the pencil layers on top of the alcohol marker there, starting with my dark. I always start with darks, I don't know why. Usually I start with darks, and then I will go to the lighter and lighter ones as I go outwards. And that really will help the houses pop because I created a little bit of darkness, like a border around the houses. It's going to create, it's going to help those houses pop forward from the background. So yeah, I am going in with lighter, progressively lighter colors. So from the darker greens all the way to the lighter and going upwards. So I'm using my lighter greens to add a little bit of green where I put the, where that wind is blowing like the foliage, those lines that the illustrator created. I am adding green background around them. So to create like an effect of like blowing leaves or blowing grass, whatever it is that's like kind of blowing in the wind. And so I'm adding green. See how I'm even adding it on top of the blue. It's okay to mix background colors. You're going to see how it's going to come out really nice in the end. So yeah, here I'm adding more of that green. And this is actually a Pablo pencil. Like I said, I'm going to have a video on how to supplement your Faber-Castell Polychromos pencil set with some extra colors that are missing from the set. So hopefully you'll check that out. And now I'm going in with a lighter green and adding it to towards the edge. Here I am taking a Jelly Roll, Moonlight Jelly Roll gel pen, and I'm adding, I'm covering the black lines of the foliage. I also am taking a white paint pen and going around the bubbles, taking some other gel pens and basically covering black lines. That really brings the illustration to the next level, I find. So just going in and covering some black lines with that green and some other gel pens that I'm using around the illustration. And here you can see the white paint pen again. I kind of jump back and forth because that's just how I color. So sometimes you forget that you're filming and you just, you're just doing whatever you would normally do. So yeah, covering the black lines, and I love how it's kind of slowly coming together. The little foliage leaves, that really makes a difference when I covered it with a green gel pen. And now I'm using some pencil to add a little bit of green to the bottom there. And finally, I'm going to go in with pencil to kind of help that background. Usually it's not that patchy, but it became patchy because of the quality of the paper. Again, not that suitable for water media, even though it's thick. So right here, I am going in with my polychromos pencils and adding just a bunch of layers on top to smooth out that background and the border to make it a little less choppy, and also add more color. So a lot of times water media is a great base, but if you want to kind of perfect it and make the page look awesome, you really need to go with pencil on top. And right now I've decided to take out my Cretacolor neon pink pencil and add some neon to that background, the transition between the blue and the green backgrounds. You see how there's a green background on the bottom and a blue background on the top? I decided to add some neon in that middle area for the transition. And I'm just going all around adding neon. It really helps to make the page more whimsical and gives it a beautiful pop of color against all that green. So I love how it's looking. And I'm going into the blue, into the green. And the Cretacolor is a hard pencil, so it adds layers kind of softly. So it helps to kind of... it's very subtle, so you can add a little bit at a time, which is great. And I'm adding some brown, some extra darkness to the houses, going over some lines. I'm using my neon gel pens and other gel pens to cover some black lines in the foliage. And now I am working on the little women that are on the leaves there. I love these illustrations, they're so whimsical. So, of course, these little images of the women are very, very tiny, so I'm just using pencils, gel pens, that kind of thing. So this is how the final page came out. I really love how it came out. I think going on top of the Neocolor with the pencils really helps smooth out the background. I love the pop of neon in the background. And it was so much fun using the alcohol markers, the Honolulu markers in here. So these are really, really beautiful books. I love this illustrator so, so much. And hopefully my next color with me will be in her other book. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so, so much for watching and for all your comments and support. And have a wonderful coloring month and week. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, everyone.